Everybody good? All right. We got head coach Hank Plona. Coach will open up with a statement, and we'll jump into questions.
Well, I guess as a basketball coach, and certainly in our league here at WKU, you work about 51 weeks of the year to get to this one and to see what we can do. So obviously this team's been together now and through a lot of ups and downs, and had a pretty serious up there probably a week ago, and I've got to come back from a disappointing road trip for us. You put that all together, I think we've proved that we can play and beat anybody, but we've also proved that if we're not at our best, that we can struggle. So obviously we'll work on bouncing back from this week. New season for all 10 teams in Huntsville this week, and we'll go down there and work between now and Thursday night at 8 to get ready for Kennesaw and play a very good Kennesaw State team on Thursday night to try to get going.
If this is a Kennesaw team that has got you guys twice in the regular season, what do you feel like you need to do to get over the hump against them?
Yeah, I think every game is kind of individually itself, so I'm not sure if there's really an over the hump for us. I'm not really sure I buy into, from their point of view, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. Those are all really good storylines, but I think both of us have talented teams that when we're sharp, we play loose, free, and can score a lot of points. And I think when both teams struggle, when things go wrong a little bit on the offensive end, it can affect their defense. So obviously the 2 games are the game at their place, back and forth game. We were down a couple guys, missed a dunk with about 4 seconds to go that could have won the game, or at least put us up by 1. The game here was kind of a little bit of probably a factor in our turning point for kind of what got us, playing a little bit differently. So obviously that game was about 2 months ago. So we'll watch those games. I've watched their recent games honestly before. I'll watch our first 2 games here today and tomorrow, but watched Kennesaw's last 3 to 4 games here instead, because I think it's a lot more relevant into what happened. So we got to figure out our matchups. We got to figure out the different ways that they'll try to exploit us and that they're playing good. We got to figure out how to get back to scoring the basketball in an efficient way like we had been for a couple weeks. But obviously they're a very good team. RJ Johnson, heck of a player. They're deep, they're long, they can shoot the ball. We got to make sure we take away their confidence a little bit and counterpunch and make sure we play as that fast, aggressive, confident team.
Coach, what are some of your main takeaways from this last week? Obviously, the games didn't have too much implication. You're going to make the tournament anyways outside of seeding, but just out of those losses, what are your main takeaways?
I mean, just hopefully an appreciation for, we hadn't reached some mountaintop. I've never really been part of winning probably 3 conference games in a row by 20-something points, and I'm not sure I've been part of losing 2 straight road games by 15 to 20 either. So obviously we're not very observant if we don't realize that, okay, when we control, we can control, and we play at 100% on both ends and play together, we can beat anybody and be very good. But if you lose any of that, if you slip at all, you can get humbled very fast. So I guess that's probably the thing to take. I hope that we weren't focused on seeding, or I don't know. Every game is maybe we were. I'm not sure. We've thrown out every theory, and as far as what could have. In both games, we got off to good starts, and we hadn't all year been up after 5 to 10 minutes and then kind of struggle. We've done that to people where we fall behind a little bit early and then we figure some things out and we play the last 20 to 25 or 30 minutes pretty good. That's honestly a lot of our wins seem to be like that. We really hadn't had that happen against us, and then it happened in both games. So I'm not sure if there's comfort, or once we got a lead, we just expected it to be easy because of what happened the previous 3. I don't know. We've thrown out every potential theory with the group, and it's and you throw them all out because hopefully with each individual you're hitting something that makes them realize that, man, I got to be better, and clearly we all have to be better, and that starts with me and our coaching staff. I mean, obviously last week was not who we want to be. It's not how we want to represent WKU. I guess I have an appreciation and understanding that these seasons do have ups and downs, but I don't necessarily like that or want that to happen. I think as coaches, you try to create a culture and environment and a vibe where you continue to build and move in the right direction without those setbacks. But we are where we are right now. We're still, 2 weeks ago, 16 days ago, we beat the #1 seed in the league by 21 on their own floor. So I guess this team has showed consistently that when we're right, we could be very, very good. But if we slip from 100% to, it's not to 60%. If we slip from 100% to 98 to 99%, you get beat. You have to be at a full 100% as far as your focus, your preparation, your attitude, attitude, your togetherness, your toughness. These games have gotten more and more physical as the year goes on. I'd say some of the games we've won, man, we've physically outmatched our opponents, whether that's rebounding or points in the paint. In these two games over the past weekend, we got out physical, the rebounding and points in the paint. So there's some basketball things we got to figure out for sure, but man, here in March in college basketball, man, these are physical games, and you have to bring it, and you can't be 99-point-something% of physicality and toughness and sharpness gets you beat. So we just have to have that mental edge, that physical edge, and prepare for Thursday.
Kennesaw still the top scoring team in the league, despite the Cottle situation with suspension earlier, and I guess they're number one rebounding too. Have they become actually more diverse, tougher to guard, or how have they maintained that?
I don't. They play. I mean, they play very fast. There's up and down. I mean, we're similar in the sense that when you play with a lot of possessions, there's going to be scoring and rebounding. They play with a lot of confidence. I don't know if they're more diverse because R.J. Johnson, in the conference play, I don't know exactly what he's averaging, but it's 17 or 18, so they still have a lead dynamic guard. I tell you, it's a different look because Johnson is not just a jump shooter. I mean, Cottle's an elite jump shooter. R.J. Johnson is a 6'4", 225-pound combo guard, point guard, scoring guard, and he's a real matchup problem. Like, he's unique. He plays the one, and he comes off ball screens, he attacks, he's strong, he can make threes. I mean, he's a problem. And then obviously they've gone bigger and bigger. Their length is significant. Simpson can really shoot. Sherman's a utility knife. Braden Liu can play the 5, but he can also play the 3. 6'8", 6'9". Jaden Harris has had an increased role here recently and been a very, very good player for them. So there's just no weak links out there, but there wasn't before. I think you figure out as time goes on how to move the ball and how to score, and I think those guys have really grown into their roles. I think Johnson's kind of taken over that lead dog role. Huntsville, Alabama kid. I'm sure he'll be pretty juiced up to play on Thursday night. But yeah, I think when you play a Kennesaw State team, that ball really moves. I don't think they focus on any one player, but I think everybody has confidence and a green light to play and to shoot and to score and to attack. So they're always very difficult because no matter who they put out there, those players play with a lot of confidence on the offensive end, and you really have to be respectful and aware of them all.
Coach, with your tournament experience, is there any pivotal thing or maybe just key factor that you think will play a major factor and you guys make a bigger push this time?
No, I don't know. I think, I don't know if we have a new team, so I'm not really sure. I think we have experienced players. I know going into this tournament, I know Terrion Murdoch has played in a lot of tournaments and won a lot of games. So I guess as a coach, when you have a point guard that has a lot of winning tournament experience, to me that's always a little bit of a comfort. I think that he's obviously has won 2 conference tournaments and at the Division I level. To me, at the end of the game, if the point guard's somebody that can kind of anticipate and that knows how to get to the free throw line, knows how to get in the paint, knows how to make a play. So I don't know. I guess we'll lean on him a little bit. I think you want to make sure that you have certainly by the end of the year you want to know how, any situation could arise. So for sure, I think in a single elimination tournament you want to be prepared for any late game potential situation on offense, any on defense. How do we get some easy baskets? How do you continue to take advantage of maybe what another team's weakness may be? For sure, but to me, it's one game at a time. We have Kennesaw State on Thursday night, and none of that tournament stuff really matters. If you don't take care of business, maybe they're for Terrion, for Tegan, for Jack, for a couple of us on staff. I mean, we went down here as the 3 seed. Played the same Thursday night 8 o'clock game a couple of years ago. So I mean, we've lived this a little bit, but I think that I think way more important than any kind of tournament success. Maybe the trip to Atlantis helps. I don't know. I mean, we've played on a big stage 3 games in a row and got stronger, I thought, as the tournament went on. I thought we showed up. So we've been really good. At Liberty's probably the most recent one, but we've been really good in those games that just kind of feel like they're very, very important. I think this team plays better under bright lights. I think we've struggled in some gyms and arenas where there's nobody in the building. So I guess for this current team, I have a lot of confidence that we'll show up and that we'll be excited to play and that we'll play with a juice and a togetherness. So, I don't know. Those are probably the positive things for Thursday night. But we know what's in front of us. We got a lot of older guys. We have guys that play in the NCAA tournament. We have guys that that have won a lot of games, and hopefully that experience helps us a little bit this weekend.
Tegan had kind of a tender ankle after that FIU game. What's his status?
Not going to practice today. I think we expect him to be good to go on Thursday, but yeah, kind of tweaked his ankle a little bit because kind of playing through it, limping through it, landing on somebody's foot. So he's been getting treatment all day yesterday and today. I don't expect there to be an issue for Thursday, but no doubt it's something that we're working on and taking care of between now and then.
You guys have took the whole season to kind of grow. You've had injuries, you've had ups and downs. Well, how would you describe play in March in tournaments and how much it's different than, just regular season?
I think when you succeed, I think there's an understanding that when it's win or go home. I mean, if you coach, we have a competitive team, and when you coach competitors, you can talk about that for days and minutes and hours and whatever it is. But I think that's obvious. I think we're all aware of the situation. So I think it's way more important to make sure we bounce back from where we're currently at. I've never gone into a tournament having the last 5 games decided by the double-digit point totals like this one has. Obviously, that Delaware game was the last kind of down-to-the-wire game we had, and we made some plays in late-game situations there to get a real big win that helped springboard us to where we're at right now. So, I think the intensity is there. I think the best players usually show up. I think everybody's the excitement, the juice, all that is good. I think our execution needs to be really good. We got to make sure that the top 2 or 3 things on each side of the ball on a game plan. You have to. I mean, R.J. Johnson's our leading scorer. Whatever our game plan is to try to prevent him from getting 30 like he did here, we have to make sure we execute that. They switch a lot on defense and they cause some problems with their length. So we'll have to put some wrinkles in, and we have to make sure that on dead ball situations that we execute to try to get some easy points. You try to kind of take away points on the defensive end and steal points on the offensive end when you can. And sometimes in March you kind of save some tricks for these type of situations. So we'll prepare and work on some things for the next 3 or 4 days. But bottom line, these guys got to go out there and hoop, man. Like, we have a team that's older. We have a team that's been there. The guys obviously, even our younger guys, the Armello Boone's of the world. I think Melo had a good week. He seemed to be physically back and playing with some athleticism and juice to him that I don't know that he quite had a couple weeks ago, just coming back from that ankle injury. So, I don't know. You try to steal points on both ends, but you got to really empower the players, and we need our guys to be the best versions of themselves. This has been a team that's consistently showed when they are the best versions of themselves that we can be competing right there with anybody in America, literally with anybody in America. So I think the key is to get us to be comfortable, to be confident, to make sure that we play with an edge to us, but that we also play no matter what's going on for those 40 minutes, that we have a belief and a determination that we have the ability to get it done. And I think it helps, some of the things we've been through this whole 9 months, but this 4-month season, I think we have the knowledge and experience, and we are aware that when we're locked in that we can perform at a very, very high level. So just want those guys to go out and play with a lot of confidence and hopefully come back with 3 wins.
Seen Cade Unseld come back. You mentioned Armello. I guess depending on Tegan's ankle, it seems like you guys are about as healthy as you've been all year going into this.
Yeah, Tegan's ankle is probably the only thing right now that's a little bit of a thing. He won't practice today, but we're hoping to have him ready for tomorrow. But yeah, I think we're in good physical shape. I think everybody's excited to go. These guys are lifting, working out here this morning. We'll practice today at 3:30. We're going to practice here at 2:30 tomorrow, and then take off kind of tomorrow night. So we'll get there kind of late Tuesday. We have the arena at Alabama A&M to practice noon on Wednesday, and then we'll shoot around at the same place on Thursday. So we'll obviously try to maintain, try to do everything that we can. You try to simulate the games and the physicality of it, but at the same time, you don't want to put the guys in a situation in practice that could ruin that health status. That's not a very intelligent thing to do. So, but you can't control everything. So we got to make sure we're preparing while maintaining our health and continue to get Tegan better. And hopefully by Thursday at 8, we're ready to go.
Yeah, you kind of brought it up earlier. The Battle for Atlantis tournament, it was the last time we played on a neutral court. back-to-back days. You're hoping to do the same thing here. What can you draw from that? What can these players draw from that might help them kind of push through this tournament?
Yeah, I don't even know, honestly, if you talk about it, like we've been there, like, so I don't, this group isn't great when we overthink and over-talk about things, but we played, I don't know, with the 6th seed in the SEC, we played the 1 seed in the American, and we played the 2 seed, and beat the 2 seed in the American. We're up on the 1 seed in the American until, Terrion got hurt, and not saying we would have won a game, but obviously that affected us a little bit. So I think that experience, just that knowledge, like we know that we have performed well in these situations. I don't know that there's any specific basketball thing you bring from. I would tell you, when the day before we practiced at Liberty, and then even the game at Liberty, that was a 4,000 seat arena sold out, packed. It kind of had that same excitement, and man, that experience helps too. Our guys, like, there was an energy that we had in that building. Like, our guys do better in these big situations. I think we truly, like, sometimes you sit up here as a coach and you try to convince your guys that they do better in big time situations, but I think the biggest thing we would take away is that we are very aware that we have played well and performed with the bright lights on all year. So I think we're looking forward to Thursday night.
You have the possibility too of having the strongest fan contingent down there. Usually, since I've seen it since Western, Middle, maybe Liberty. How much does it help to have that tournament there?
I mean, it's great to have. I think it's great for our fans to have the tournament in Huntsville. I mean, about a 3-hour drive. I know, obviously, I was on staff a couple of years ago when we made a run, and I thought when we certainly, as the week went on, it seemed like more and more people would came down, and I think that certainly helps. I think it helps create the environment for sure. It helps to have people on your side. Even if we're playing, I guess I don't know what Kennesaw will turn, but we do find people are against us too now. So if there's a couple thousand rooting for us and a couple thousand against us, we'd be fine with that too. So, but no, I would encourage all Western fans to come on down to Huntsville. It's a short drive. Obviously, we're gonna do all we can to take care of business, and I think it's Friday afternoon is the next one, and I guess when championship game, I think Saturday night. So, I know it made a huge impact a few years ago. I know our guys feed off of that. There's excitement. There was a feeling in the hotel as we're getting ready to play. There's a feeling in Huntsville. I know that this is it's turned into kind of a week that I think Hilltopper fans look forward to, and we have an understanding of that, and we want to make this week a memorable experience. There's really nothing cooler than when WKU fans come up and say, hey, we were in Huntsville 2 years ago, or we were in Indianapolis 2 years ago. Obviously, we're hoping that we can continue to create weeks and memories for fans and their families to continue to enjoy. So we'll do everything. We're going to prepare here from now to Thursday and be ready to go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and certainly would encourage all Western fans to come on down to Huntsville.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.